Fear has stolen more dreams than failure ever could. It whispers that you're not ready, not talented enough, not strong enough. And if you keep listening, you'll spend your entire life watching opportunities pass you by. Today, I'm going to show you how to silence self-doubt, face fear with courage, and become the person your excuses have been trying to keep hidden. Fear is one of the most powerful emotions a human being can experience. It has the ability to stop dreams before they begin, silence voices that deserve to be heard, and convince capable people that they are not enough. Many people spend years believing that fear is their greatest enemy, but fear itself is not the real problem. The real problem is misunderstanding where fear comes from and allowing it to control the choices that shape your life. Most fear is not created by the situation in front of you. It is created by the story your mind tells you about that situation. Before you speak in front of a crowd, your mind imagines embarrassment. Before you apply for a new opportunity, it imagines rejection. Before you begin a business, it imagines failure. Before you chase a dream, it imagines disappointment. The event has not happened yet, but your mind has already created a future filled with negative possibilities. In many cases, you are not afraid of reality. You are afraid of a story that exists only in your imagination. This is why two people can face the exact same challenge and respond completely differently. One sees possibility while the other sees danger. One feels excitement while the other feels panic. The difference is rarely the situation itself. The difference is the meaning each person gives to it. Your thoughts shape your emotions long before your circumstances shape your results. Fear also has a biological purpose. It exists to protect you from genuine danger. Thousands of years ago, fear helped human beings survive by warning them about real threats. But your brain does not always distinguish between physical danger and emotional discomfort. It reacts to public speaking, criticism, rejection, and uncertainty with many of the same signals it would use to respond to physical threats. Your heart races. Your breathing changes. Your muscles tighten. Your mind urges you to escape. These reactions are natural, but they are not always accurate indicators that you should stop. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that fear means they are incapable. In reality, fear often appears because something important is at stake. If you care deeply about your dream, your relationships, or your purpose, fear naturally becomes part of the journey. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing to move forward despite it. The strongest people in the world still experience fear. They have simply learned that fear does not deserve the final vote in their decisions. Understanding the source of fear allows you to question it instead of automatically obeying it. When fear appears, ask yourself what evidence actually supports your thoughts. Are you responding to facts or assumptions? Are you preparing for reality or imagining the worst possible outcome? These questions create distance between you and your fear, allowing your rational mind to regain control. Fear also loses much of its power when you stop viewing uncertainty as something negative. Every meaningful opportunity contains uncertainty. Every new beginning involves risk. Growth always requires stepping into situations where success cannot be guaranteed. If you wait until fear disappears completely, you may spend your entire life waiting. Progress belongs to those who are willing to act before certainty arrives. The first step toward overcoming fear is recognizing that it is often a messenger rather than a master. It can alert you to prepare, to learn, and to grow, but it should never decide the direction of your life. When you understand where fear truly comes from, you stop treating it as an obstacle that must be eliminated and begin seeing it as a challenge that can be understood, managed, and transformed into the very force that pushes you toward becoming stronger than you ever believed possible. Self-doubt rarely arrives with loud warnings. It enters quietly, disguised as logic, caution, or realism. It whispers that you should wait a little longer, prepare a little more, or lower your expectations to avoid disappointment. At first, these thoughts seem harmless. They appear to be protecting you from failure, rejection, or embarrassment. But over time, self-doubt becomes a habit that slowly steals your confidence, your opportunities, and your belief in what is possible. The most dangerous part of self-doubt is that it sounds like your own voice. Because the thoughts come from within, they feel true. You begin believing statements such as, "I'm not good enough, someone else can do it better. I don't have enough experience," or "this probably won't work anyway." These beliefs shape your decisions long before you ever have the chance to discover what you are truly capable of achieving. Self-doubt is rarely based on facts. It is usually built on assumptions, past disappointments, and imagined outcomes. One failure convinces you that success will never come. One criticism makes you question your abilities. One rejection causes you to doubt your value. Your mind begins collecting evidence that supports these negative beliefs while ignoring the evidence that proves your strength, your progress, and your potential. This creates a distorted picture of reality where your weaknesses appear larger than they truly are. One of the most powerful ways to stop self-doubt from controlling your decisions is to separate your thoughts from your identity. Just because you think something does not mean it is true. Thoughts are mental events, not permanent truths. You can observe them without obeying them. When your mind says, "You can't do this," pause and ask yourself whether that statement is supported by facts or simply driven by fear. This simple habit weakens the automatic influence of negative thinking. Another important step is changing the questions you ask yourself. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" ask, "What if I succeed?" Instead of asking, "What if people judge me?" ask, "What opportunities will I miss if I never try?" The quality of your questions shapes the direction of your thinking. Fear naturally asks questions that keep you safe. Growth asks questions that move you forward. Confidence is not created by waiting until self-doubt disappears. Confidence is created by taking action while self-doubt is still present. Every small action becomes evidence that you are capable. Every challenge you face strengthens your belief in yourself. Every promise you keep builds trust between you and your own mind. Action slowly replaces uncertainty because experience provides proof that fear could never offer. It is also important to stop comparing your beginning to someone else's years of experience. Every successful person once stood exactly where you are now. They questioned themselves. They made mistakes. They experienced failure. The difference is that they refused to let uncertainty become a permanent excuse. They accepted that growth requires imperfection and that mastery is earned through practice, not instant success. Your future will always be shaped by the decisions you make today. If self-doubt continues making those decisions for you, your life will become smaller than your potential. But when you choose to act according to your purpose instead of your fear, everything begins to change. Your confidence grows stronger with every courageous decision. Your identity shifts from someone who waits for certainty to someone who creates certainty through action, resilience, learning, and the willingness to keep moving forward even when your mind still whispers reasons to stop. Most people spend their lives trying to eliminate fear. They believe that once fear disappears, confidence will naturally take its place and success will become easier. But fear is not something that completely vanishes. Every new opportunity, every meaningful goal, and every important decision will bring some level of uncertainty. The people who achieve extraordinary things are not fearless. They have simply learned how to transform fear into a source of energy instead of allowing it to become a barrier. Fear is powerful because it captures your attention. It forces you to focus on what matters. The problem begins when you use that attention to imagine failure instead of preparing for success. Instead of asking, "What if everything goes wrong?" ask yourself, "How can I use this fear to become better prepared?" Fear becomes useful when it motivates you to learn, practice, improve, and grow rather than making you retreat into comfort. Think about an athlete standing before the biggest competition of their life. Their heart beats faster. Their palms sweat. Their mind races with possibilities. Those physical sensations are often identical to what many people call anxiety. Yet some athletes interpret those feelings differently. Instead of believing they are signs of weakness, they see them as evidence that their body is preparing for an important challenge. The situation has not changed. Only the interpretation has changed. That shift transforms nervous energy into focused determination. Fear often points directly toward the areas where your greatest growth is waiting. If speaking in public frightens you, developing that skill may open doors you never imagined. If starting a business feels overwhelming, building the courage to begin may completely change your future. If having difficult conversations makes you uncomfortable, learning to communicate honestly may strengthen every important relationship in your life. The things that scare you most often reveal the direction where your potential is waiting to be discovered. One reason people remain trapped by fear is because they focus on avoiding pain instead of pursuing purpose. Avoiding discomfort may feel safe in the moment, but it usually creates greater regret over time. The The temporary discomfort of taking action is often far less painful than the lifelong disappointment of wondering what might have happened if you had been brave enough to try. Purpose gives fear a smaller place in your life because your mission becomes more important than your comfort. Turning fear into fuel also requires changing the way you respond when challenges appear. Instead of seeing obstacles as proof that you should stop, begin seeing them as opportunities to become stronger. Every difficult experience teaches patience, resilience, adaptability, and courage. These qualities cannot be developed in comfortable circumstances. They are earned through moments that demand your best effort despite uncertainty. Action remains the greatest antidote to fear. The longer you wait, the larger fear appears in your imagination. Every postponed decision gives fear another opportunity to grow. But the moment you take even one small step forward, fear begins to lose its influence. Progress replaces paralysis. Experience replaces assumption. Confidence begins growing because you now have evidence that you can move forward even while feeling uncertain. The strongest people understand that fear is not an enemy to defeat, but a signal to pay attention. They listen to it without surrendering to it. They prepare carefully, act courageously, and remain committed to their purpose regardless of uncertainty. Instead of allowing fear to limit their lives, they use it as a source of focus, determination, and relentless growth, transforming every challenge into another opportunity to become wiser, stronger, more resilient, and more capable than they were before. Confidence is often misunderstood. Many people believe it is a feeling you must possess before taking action. They wait until they feel completely ready, completely certain, and completely fearless before making an important decision. The problem is that this moment rarely arrives. Confidence is not the starting point of success. It is the result of repeated action. The people who appear the most confident today were once beginners who chose to move forward despite uncertainty. Every time you avoid a challenge because of fear, you unintentionally teach your mind that the challenge is dangerous. The next time you face a similar situation, your fear becomes even stronger because your brain remembers that you escaped before. But every time you face the challenge instead of avoiding it, you teach your mind something completely different. You prove that discomfort is temporary and that you are capable of handling more than you previously believed. Confidence grows through evidence, and action is what creates that evidence. Think about learning to ride a bicycle. No one becomes confident by reading instructions alone. Confidence develops through practice. You wobble, lose balance, make mistakes, and sometimes fall. Yet with every attempt, your brain learns something new. Eventually, what once felt impossible becomes natural. The same principle applies to every meaningful area of life. Whether you are speaking in public, leading a team, starting a business, or pursuing a dream, confidence is earned through experience rather than imagination. Many people underestimate the power of small victories. They believe only major achievements can build confidence, but the opposite is often true. Confidence is strengthened every time you complete a difficult task, keep a promise to yourself, speak honestly when it feels uncomfortable, or continue working after a setback. These seemingly ordinary moments become proof that you can trust yourself. Self-trust is the foundation upon which lasting confidence is built. One reason action is so powerful is because it interrupts overthinking. Fear grows in the space between intention and action. The longer you delay, the more opportunities your mind has to imagine failure, criticism, and disappointment. Action shifts your attention from imaginary problems to real experiences. Instead of wondering whether you can do something, you begin discovering what you are actually capable of achieving. Building confidence also requires accepting imperfection. Many people refuse to begin because they want every attempt to be flawless. They fear making mistakes because they believe mistakes will expose weakness. In reality, mistakes are evidence that you are learning. Every expert was once inexperienced. Every leader once felt uncertain. Every successful person has stories of failure that shape their growth. Progress belongs to those who are willing to learn publicly rather than remain comfortable privately. Another important truth is that confidence is not built by receiving constant praise from others. External approval may feel encouraging, but it cannot replace internal belief. Lasting confidence comes from knowing that you have faced difficult situations, honored your commitments, and continued moving forward regardless of fear. It grows from the promises you keep to yourself when no one else is watching. The journey toward unshakable confidence begins with one courageous decision. Not a perfect decision, not a guaranteed decision, but a willing decision. Every action taken in the presence of fear becomes another piece of evidence that you are stronger than your doubts. Over time, those actions reshape your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone waiting for confidence to appear and begin seeing yourself as someone who creates confidence through consistent action, resilient effort, personal responsibility, and the unwavering commitment to keep moving forward regardless of uncertainty. Your mind is constantly listening to the conversations you have with yourself. Every thought you repeat, every belief you accept, and every word you speak about your abilities slowly becomes part of your identity. If your inner voice constantly tells you that you are not smart enough, not capable enough, or not worthy enough, your actions will eventually begin to reflect those beliefs. This is why overcoming fear and self-doubt is not only about changing your actions. It is also about rewiring your mind with empowering beliefs that strengthen your confidence instead of weakening it. Most limiting beliefs are not born from reality. They are created through repeated experiences, painful memories, criticism, rejection, or failure. A single disappointing moment can become a story that your mind repeats for years. You fail once and begin believing you are a failure. Someone doubts you, and you begin doubting yourself. One rejection convinces you that you are not good enough. Over time, these beliefs become automatic, influencing your decisions without you even realizing it. The encouraging truth is that beliefs are learned, and anything that is learned can also be replaced. Your brain has an incredible ability to adapt. Every time you choose a healthier thought, challenge a negative assumption, or take action that contradicts your fear, you begin creating new mental pathways. Change does not happen overnight, but every repeated positive belief strengthens a new way of thinking until it gradually becomes your default mindset. One of the most powerful ways to rewire your mind is to become aware of your internal dialogue. Pay attention to the words you use when facing challenges. Do you immediately say, I can't do this? Or do you ask, how can I learn to do this? Do you tell yourself, I'm not ready? Or do you remind yourself, every expert started as a beginner? Small changes in language create significant changes in perspective because your mind responds to the messages you repeat consistently. Empowering beliefs are not about pretending that difficulties do not exist. They are about choosing interpretations that help you grow rather than hold you back. Instead of seeing failure as proof of weakness, view it as evidence that you are learning. Instead of seeing criticism as a personal attack, see it as an opportunity to improve. Instead of seeing obstacles as barriers, see them as training grounds that prepare you for greater responsibilities. The event may remain the same, but your interpretation changes everything. Another important step is surrounding yourself with voices that reinforce possibility instead of limitation. The people you listen to, the books you read, the content you consume, and the conversations you engage in all influence your beliefs. If you constantly expose yourself to negativity, fear, and discouragement, your mindset will reflect that environment. But when you intentionally fill your mind with wisdom, encouragement, and examples of resilience, you begin believing that growth is possible for you as well. Beliefs become even stronger when they are supported by action. Every time you do something that once frightened you, you provide your mind with new evidence. Every challenge you overcome weakens an old limiting belief and strengthens a new empowering one. Confidence grows because your experiences begin confirming what your new mindset already believes. Rewiring your mind is a daily practice, not a one-time decision. Every thought you choose, every word you speak, and every action you take is shaping the person you are becoming. When you consistently replace fear with possibility, a doubt with purpose, and limitation with growth, your mindset transforms from your greatest obstacle into your greatest source of strength, allowing you to face challenges with courage, resilience, confidence, and an unshakable belief in your own potential. One of the greatest reasons people remain trapped by fear and self-doubt is because they see failure as the end of the journey instead of part of the process. They believe that making a mistake means they are not talented enough, not intelligent enough, or not meant for success. As a result, they avoid challenges that could help them grow because they fear the possibility of failing. But every remarkable achievement is built on countless moments where someone chose to keep going despite disappointment. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is one of the paths that leads to it. Think about any skill you have mastered in your life. Whether it was walking, driving, speaking a new language, or learning a profession, you did not succeed on your first attempt. You made mistakes. You struggled. You improved through repetition. Those early failures were not signs that you should quit. They were evidence that you were learning. The same principle applies to every meaningful goal you pursue today. Fear becomes powerful when you attach your identity to your results. If one unsuccessful attempt convinces you that you are a failure, every challenge becomes a threat to your self-worth. But there is an important difference between failing and being a failure. Failing is an event. Being a failure is an identity that many people wrongly assign to themselves. One describes what happened. The other describes who you believe you are. Never confuse the two. Successful people develop a different relationship with failure. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" they ask, "What can this teach me?" Every setback contains information that success often cannot provide. Failure reveals weaknesses that need improvement, assumptions that need correction, and skills that need development. It exposes blind spots that would otherwise remain hidden. When you approach failure with curiosity instead of shame, it becomes one of your greatest teachers. Another reason failure is valuable is because it develops resilience. Confidence built only on success is fragile because it depends on favorable circumstances. True confidence is built by surviving difficult moments and discovering that you are stronger than you imagined. Every obstacle you overcome proves that you have the ability to recover, adapt, and continue moving forward. This resilience becomes one of your greatest sources of courage because you stop fearing failure as much as you once did. Many opportunities are missed because people wait until success is guaranteed before taking action. But guarantees rarely exist in life. Every entrepreneur risks failure. Every leader risks criticism. Every athlete risks defeat. Every artist risks rejection. Those who accomplish extraordinary things are not protected from failure. They simply refuse to let the possibility of failure prevent them from pursuing their purpose. It is also important to remember that failure often changes your direction without destroying your destination. Sometimes a closed door leads you toward a better opportunity. Sometimes an unexpected setback forces you to develop strengths you never knew you possessed. What appears to be a defeat today may become the very experience that prepares you for your greatest success tomorrow. Many of life's most meaningful lessons arrive disguised as disappointments. Embracing failure as part of success means accepting that growth is rarely comfortable. Every challenge stretches your abilities. Every mistake expands your understanding. Every recovery strengthens your character. Instead of allowing failure to convince you that you should stop, let it remind you that you are becoming stronger through every experience. The people who eventually succeed are rarely those who never fail. They are the ones who refuse to let failure have the final word, choosing instead to rise again with greater wisdom. Deeper resilience, renewed determination, and stronger belief in what they are capable of becoming. Every person has two versions of themselves living within them. One is controlled by fear, constantly searching for safety, approval, and certainty before taking action. This version hesitates, overthinks, and allows self-doubt to make important decisions. The other version is courageous. It understands that fear will always exist, but it refuses to let fear determine the direction of life. The difference between these two versions is not talent, intelligence, or luck. It is the daily choice to become the person you were created to be instead of the person your fears expect you to remain. Courage is often misunderstood as the absence of fear. People imagine courageous individuals as those who never feel nervous, uncertain, or vulnerable. The truth is exactly the opposite. Courage exists because fear exists. If there were nothing to fear, there would be no need for courage. Every act of bravery begins with uncertainty. Every meaningful achievement begins with a decision to move forward, despite not knowing exactly what will happen next. The courageous person is not someone who waits until confidence appears. They understand that confidence is built through action. Every difficult conversation, every bold decision, every new opportunity, and every challenge accepted becomes another piece of evidence that they are stronger than their fears. Their confidence grows because they consistently prove to themselves that they can handle discomfort instead of avoiding it. One of the most important characteristics of courageous people is that they act according to their values rather than their emotions. There will always be days when fear feels stronger than motivation. There will always be moments when self-doubt whispers reasons to quit. Courage means choosing your purpose over your feelings. It means remembering why you started when the journey becomes difficult. It means allowing your mission to become louder than your excuses. Becoming courageous also requires accepting responsibility for your own life. It is easy to blame circumstances, other people, or past experiences for where you are today. While many challenges are real and unfair, lasting change begins when you focus on what remains within your control. You cannot always control what happens to you, but you can control your response. That response determines whether your past becomes a prison or a source of strength. Another powerful habit of courageous people is that they continue growing even after achieving success. They do not become comfortable with yesterday's victories because they understand that personal growth is a lifelong journey. Every new challenge is welcomed as another opportunity to develop wisdom, resilience, humility, and character. They never stop learning because they know that courage is strengthened every time they step beyond what feels familiar. The world does not need more people hiding their talents because they fear criticism. It does not need more dreams abandoned because someone doubted themselves. It needs people who are willing to stand up, speak with conviction, act with integrity, and pursue meaningful goals despite uncertainty. Every time you choose courage, you give others permission to do the same. Your example becomes a source of hope for people who are fighting battles you may never see. Becoming the courageous person you were meant to be is not a single moment of transformation. It is the result of thousands of small decisions made every day. Every time you choose action over hesitation, truth over comfort, growth over fear, and purpose over doubt, you shape a stronger version of yourself. Over time, those choices become your character, your identity, and your legacy, allowing you to live with confidence, resilience, authenticity, and the quiet strength that comes from knowing you refuse to let fear define the story of your life.